Hey guys, what's up? Evan from Stock Music Musician, and I'm going live right now. Going to talk about songwriter's block and a very real thing that we all suffer from. Lately, I have sort of been having it and haven't been having it. It's sort of this weird situation that I've not really been in before. I've got a lot of really good ideas, a lot of good choruses and hooks and all sorts of things like that, but I'm also having trouble sort of grasping all the threads and bringing them together, which is kind of a weird situation for me. It's basically a situation where you can write a song, sure, but like you don't know if you should choose to go down path A or path B or path C, both from a lyrical perspective in terms of pacing and style, and also just in terms of like how I would instrument it, all sorts of things. It's kind of a weird place to be in. I'd almost rather be struggling to write a song than struggling to finish a song. Because usually once I start to write a song, it just comes out. So let's, you know, talk about some strategies that I've used in the past to start writing a song, which is different, but we'll talk about that first, and then we'll talk about how we deal with the situation where I've written these songs, but I cannot quite finish them. So when I get stuck trying to write a song, and I know I want to write a song, I've got a few different things I might try and do. The first one is just to play the blues, and then inevitably that'll turn into like some sort of maybe like Zeppelin type riff, where I'm like, I don't know, that's just off the top of my head right now, but I find that if I just spend 15, 20 minutes sitting down playing some version of the blues, something comes out. Whether you can be strumming the chords, and you try and mix it up. You try and force yourself out of your comfort zone, obviously. You wouldn't want to play anything straightforward because it's going to be these happy accidents that you encounter. And if you guys have questions at any time, feel free to chime in and I'll do my best to answer them, whether it's about writer's block or anything else. So playing the blues is a good way to get out of it for me. Another one that I like to do is just to play the pentatonic scale or any scale and try and do a weird pattern on it. So, you'd be... So maybe you would try and connect it in a weird way to make a melody. I'm just randomly choosing a few notes, but like that's something you could work with, right? Or maybe not that one, but you just keep on playing around with the scale, basic scales that you know, and forcing yourself into interesting situations and positions. And that can really, the form of the scale can unleash creativity and kind of help you overcome the writer's block at times. So just, another example, just G major. So maybe mess around with something like that. And often that can get you the groove or the hook or even the melody for your song. And having a melody kind of makes it easier, especially if you know what scale you're in. Then you're just like, all right, well, does it start on the tonic? So that's one way I also get over songwriter's block. Another thing I like to do is just play arpeggios, and sometimes that will really get you into interesting spots. Whether it's so pick a chord you like. I love this B7 here, B minor 7. All right, so that C definitely doesn't work there, but so arpeggiating chords that you like is a great way of trying to come up with a song. And from there, you would lay a melody over that, obviously, and maybe some strumming. That might not even make it to the final. Rushdown arpeggios are your favorite, or the B minor 7? Yeah, I'm a big fan of both of those. So don't at all hesitate to have favorite chords and to go back to them. Love the B minor 7. And then jazz up maybe a little bit. Another thing that I love to do when it comes to songwriter's block is to take a capo, if you've got a guitar, and just throw it on a fret somewhere. So I'm going to throw it, let's do it on the 7th fret, no particular reason, just feeling that, and then just start experimenting with what like weird voicings you can get. So that's just something off the top of my head. I wouldn't have come up with it without the capo. I don't know if it's something I want to work on, but the point is that throwing a capo on can really mix things up. Yeah, Rushdown. Any of those bar chords are just really a real pain. The way I'm playing it here is actually sort of the jazzier. I think it's actually probably a 6, a B minor. I don't know what it is. B minor 6 maybe. Or maybe a B minor sus. Because that's the 6, I think there. But then sort of playing around with the 7 as well. There. Another great thing is to similarly take your favorite chord and experiment with different root notes on it. So like, let's say, or a chord shape. And so this is sort of the high inversion of an A minor. Something like that. And but in a different position because the octaves aren't helping it there, or the open strings aren't. But I'm not getting any inspiration here, so I'm not going to do that one anymore. 0, 2. Okay, yeah, definitely got that. I love to play the 7 sort of in this form. Then another great tip for writer's block that I like to do is just alternate tuning, drop D maybe, or whatever. You never know what you'll come up with when you're just not comfortable. So that can be really a ton of fun. Other tricks I do when the old songwriter's block hits include if I'm like using Reason or on my computer or something, sometimes just throwing up a beat on like a loop from Dr. Rex or something, a drum beat can really inspire some interesting chord playing or rhythms. But I don't have a beat up, but that's something you can check out. Um, another problem that another solution I've used with loops in Reason is just to actually play a melodic loop or a chord-based loop and try and come up with a melody under that. Usually that doesn't make it to the final song, but it's like enough to get the song going. And once the song starts going, like I said, it sort of just takes on a life of its own. It's like a wild animal uncaged. Um, I also like to start songs a lot on bass if I'm going to be playing to a drum loop. That gets me the groove I need, and then everything sort of falls into place. And the bass line will sort of determine what the root notes are for the chords and how you approach the guitar and all of that. So that's about half of the tricks I have for overcoming writer's block. But if anybody's got a question right now, feel free to ask. If anybody has another strategy that they want to share, I'll leave it open for a few minutes or a few seconds before I go on with my songwriter's block list. Okay, so I will keep going then. So another technique, I wouldn't really call it a technique at all, but it's just play with people, jam. It's so true that two heads are better than one when it comes to music. And most of us bedroom producers, unfortunately, spend way too much time by ourselves and not with other people. And you really got to go out there, jam, and get inspired because they'll push you out of your comfort zone and vice versa. And that's really where great music is made. All right, so Rushdown has a chord 7, I guess 7, 0. Oh, that's painful. 7, 8, 9, 10. Oof. I don't think I have big enough hands to get my thumb over the top on an acoustic. That's beautiful, though. Yeah, I like that chord. Yeah, I could probably pull that off on an electric, but I'm not going to have it on an acoustic. Wow, I really like that. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, the low E, I can't get my thumb over the top. So there's some other learn a new chord. Hey, that's an inspiration. I didn't even have that on my list, but Rushdown has definitely I just want to go and make a song with this chord now. So learn new chords. I think every time I learn a new chord or a new scale, it inspires something. So I've got a couple more tips for you guys. The first of the couple more, which I've lost track of what actual number we're on, but another one is to actually play your instrument upside down. Just flip it and reverse it. I'm a lefty, but now I'm going righty, and I can't do it well. But sometimes your hands will do weird things. And sometimes they don't. Often, what I find better, at least for me, this is probably harder for you guys to get hold on, but borrowing a friend's right-handed guitar is really helpful for me. And then playing it left-handed, so it's upside down, but it's still using my hands, my skilled hands. I see. Yeah, about the neck. The next tip I have for overcoming songwriter's block is to try a different instrument. I've sort of alluded to this, but if you've got a ukulele, a bass, a guitar, piano, whatever, sometimes you just need to pick up a different instrument and start going at it. You know, that can really, really just free up your time and your mind and let you focus on what um, the song. And sometimes we get trapped in these ruts on our own instruments, on the instruments that we're most comfortable with. And so being out of our comfort zone in instruments that we're not as comfortable with, where we don't have the same patterns that we fall into, can be really helpful. Whether it's a ukulele, a harmonica, whatever, pick something else up, go from there. Another thing I do when I'm stuck is sometimes it'll help just to beatbox, and then you can sort of start coming up with a song with that. You know, like whatever. I mean, the point is that it's kind of like when you play with a loop, it can encourage you to come up with rhythms and different things than you would. So check that out. Similarly, singing, just sing a song. I almost never listen to music when I'm walking around, just so that I can come up with songs. And if something good pops into my head while I'm walking around, I've got the voice recorder feature on my phone, and I just hit boop and record it. And I've got them. I think I mostly use Evernote, and I've got a little folder for them, and they just sort of go there. And then if I want to pick them up later, they're ready to go. Or if I could come up with like a good lyric line, you know, write it down. And so now let's transition into some lyrical ideas for how to overcome writer's block. One of the best ones, I think, is to write the song title first. That's really going to guide your song. If you sit down and write it first, often I don't. Hey there, how's it going, Tuts and Beats? So, like, let's say you write a song called, you know, How Could You Rip Out My Heart Like That? I think that's going to sound a lot different than, you know, I Will Always Love You. And that's going to influence the choice that you make down the line. So the more choices you can make, and the sooner you can make those choices in the recording process, the better, or in the writing process, because each one sort of narrows down your further options, which lets you focus on what you're trying to work on. And so pick a title and then write a song to that title, or a phrase, or a theme even. You know, it could be, you know, it could be a song. Just say you want to write a song about, it's never, hey, don't blame me for getting that guitar out. You know you wanted to do it. The like the theme of the song is gonna really impact it, even if you don't have the title. So let's say you want to write a song about a pop song. You know, that's the style, but the style and the theme, then you're going to approach it a lot different than a country song or a rock song. So if you make these choices and intentionally write towards them, it can sometimes help you overcome writer's block. You know, it's great when the perfect song magically pops into your head. That's wonderful, but that's not what happens every day. And so some days we just have to like sit down, pick out a topic, pick out a theme, and just write, because you just got to write. That's the best way to get better at writing. And a few more things just with Tuts and Beats, absolutely. Um, um, Absolutely a loop. That's what I love about Reason. A lot of a Dr. Rex loop often will be what I start with, or sometimes even an instrumental loop, and that'll inspire me to do something from that. Often if I'm doing a drum loop, I actually like to start with bass first. I actually consider myself to be a better bass player than guitar player, and that's like where I really feel it. And then once I get the bass sort of figured out, everything fills out around it. Part of songwriting also is knowing, what your comfort zone is and what it isn't when it comes to writing. So like sometimes you want to write in your comfort zone, but if you have writer's block, I think it often helps to step out of your comfort zone and be like, hey, the song's probably going to be trash, but I just got to write a song to open the spigot, right? It's hard to describe where songs come from, but the place they come from, sometimes you can go there easily and sometimes you can't. And so you just gotta be okay with um, sometimes taking a bad route to get back into songwriting. So a couple more tips that I have for songwriter's block is to choose a form for your song. Let's say, whether it's the rhyme scheme or, it's going to go verse, chorus, or bridge, or whatever this form and style of the song is. If you set that down, it forces everything else, it corrals everything else towards it. So, if you're going to have a an intro, a slow intro, then why not write that, and that'll lead to one thing and then the next thing. Yes, I have so many songs that I don't know how to mix, or that I'm afraid to mix, or that I started mixing and I just couldn't mix. Absolutely. That's why I kind of like to try and have a balance of projects on both sides of the writing and the mixing stage, and the recording stage actually. There are certain songs that I can't figure out how to record. I can hear them perfectly in my head, the arrangements and everything, and when I just go and record it, it just doesn't work right. Um, so yes, you can have these blocks everywhere, and that's a great suggestion, and I'll try and do a video on mix blocks and recording blocks as well, because I have one song from 2012 or something that I love, and then it defeated me, and I'm sure I'm a much better mixer now, but I'm like kind of afraid to go back to it, because it ruined me so hard for mixing. So yeah, definitely you can. This is all creative work, and you can be stunted in all of it, which is why it's important to practice just your craft when you get stunted and when you don't, so that you know you can try and work through the blocks just by going back to your craft, um, and getting the skills. So that's actually a big thing. Step away when you have a block. Just step away. Go do something else. Write a song, or if you're having trouble writing a song, mix a song. If you're having trouble write a song, or don't do any of that. Go exercise. Go for a walk. Spend time with people you care about. Play a video game, whatever. Just watching TV. Just step away from music for a little bit, and often things will come. Um, and there's also sort of a tension between forcing songs to come and waiting for inspiration. Um, I think you have to try and force it for a while, but if it doesn't work, then you've got to eventually step away from it for a bit, and trust that it will come back. Um, if you're a songwriter, it comes back. It's who you are. So that would be another one. I'm gonna probably finish up in about 5 minutes. So if anybody has any questions, just let me know, or any comments, whatever. Happy to talk about anything, not just songwriter's block. Music licensing, mixing, songwriting, playing instruments, favorite new CDs, whatever. Or not that anybody has CDs anymore, but I'm old, so that's what I call them. So a couple last songwriter's block tips that I'm going to just drop here. A big thing I think that can help is to go back and listen to your old songs. And sometimes you will hear things in your old songs that you kind of forgot about, or that you had almost wanted to do and you just never quite did, and that will take you back into that creative mind space and away from the space that you're in right now, which can help you sort of jump um, the chasm that's separating you from writing songs. Yeah, I did do a video on, well, I didn't do a video on how to make templates in Reason. I did a video of my templates, um, and it's somewhere on my channel, and you can download the templates. But I will say that I'm in the process of coming up with new templates now that Reason 9.5 is out, and I'm looking to how I can get VSTs into the templates and things like that. Um, so it's kind of like tough to figure out exactly what I want my new templates to look like now that we have this option of all these VSTs, and I don't necessarily know which ones I like enough to have in all the time. And then also it kind of becomes more difficult or less useful for you guys if I make templates with VSTs, because not everybody's going to have the same VSTs, uh, which is just sort of a weird thing in the Reason world, because before, you can pretty much count on everybody being on the same page. Um, but that brings me to another point for inspiration. Um, Use effects, whether it's a guitar pedal, um, or whether it's a VST plugin or a Reason plugin. Delays, distortions, phasers, they can all create really cool, unique sounds that inspire you to make different types of music. I just did a video, I think earlier this week or last week, on Sound Toy's Little Altar Boy, which is a pitch shifter. And that thing, I put it on and it totally inspired me to write a new great song around it, because it's just that cool of a pitch shifter. It feels real. It feels like a guitar tool. And so surround yourself with, inspiring effects, but obviously effects aren't a crutch for good songs. But when you've got writer's block, sometimes you gotta do whatever you can to get over it. Um, and so my last tip before I sign off would be just to be patient with yourself, um, and to believe that you will eventually write good songs. And sometimes you just got to work through the bad songs. It's like pulling a slot machine. You don't know when the good songs are going to come and when the bad songs are going to come, or even when songs are going to come at all. So if you keep at it, um, you know, they will come. And even if they're bad songs at first, don't get frustrated. Um, so yeah, no, I'm happy to talk more about these. So what genres do I mainly create? I would say classic rock, like dusty down tempo hip hop, and just down tempo, and then sort of jazzy or acoustic folky rock. Um, how are you liking Reason so far? Yeah, it's if you're I think if you're a musician first, Reason is just so inspiring. Yeah, I don't think I'm not sure exactly how to set that up on live chat, but I think the default is that they're off in the live chat, unfortunately. But if you just post it as a comment on one of my other videos, it'll come through and I'll be able to get it that way rushed down. Yeah, the rack is so, I mean, it's intuitive, right? It's like I've got a rack, a physical hardware rack here, and it's the same thing. And similarly, you've got effects pedals on a guitar, and the wiring is sort of the same as that. You just sort of figure it out. Do you want your distortion before your delay, or your delay before your distortion? And you sort of just figure out your sound through all of that. And so I found it to be a very inspiring piece of software. Um, as a creator, I think it has some shortcomings if you were like a professional mix engineer. Um, but I still think you can make professional quality mixes on it. I have made mixes that I've sold and that have been on the radio and that have been on TV, that on Reason using the stock stuff. and also real instruments. So yeah, Tuts and Beats, I think it definitely makes it feels more like a real studio in terms of hardware, although I don't think many real studios unfortunately are using Reason, so it's sort of like a catch-22. You're getting better at the hardware side of the industry, which is kind of dying, and you know, but with VSTs, hopefully Reason starts to become more. Yeah, yeah, I did. Key Wayne, that was awesome. Uh, and it's really great to see people say that you can do it on Reason because I've been able to come close, but obviously I'm not writing hit records or anything like that, or working with you know superstars. But I think we can get a lot of the way there. Yeah. Now, probably the other thing though, just like he made those songs in Reason, but I would be pretty certain they were probably mixed by somebody else in Pro Tools or Logic or something like that. Um, which is fine. I mean, who says you have to do? To me, the music creation is far more important than the mixing. Um, it gets um, just it gets you writing. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's come a long way for mixing, and I think it will be going. I think we'll only be getting better. Yes, and yes, making softer and it enables creation. Absolutely, Tuts and Beats. I totally 100% echo that. Um, it's I think two words that people like don't necessarily focus enough on their root word. It would be saying that they're creative, ignoring the root of the word, meaning that you actually have to create something. It's not just a mindset. It's not just a style. It's actually that you create something. And Reason really helps me create things. And similarly, a producer or music production, the root of that is that you produce something. And similarly, I think Reason really shines when it comes to that. And for me, the workflow, having used it this long, is pretty fast. I can get around it quickly, which helps me create and produce more. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for the question. I definitely hope to stream more. It's sort of okay. I'll check that video out, Rushdown. Thanks so much for sharing, and thanks so much for the comments, guys. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a great summer. I'll talk to you later.